Hello class, my name is Aaron Smith and today I'll be doing my presentation over group nesting best practice using AGUDLP. What is AGUDLP? AGUDLP is a role-based strategy when a user changes their role, for example promoted or transferred. Access can quickly and easily be changed. AGUDLP is a Microsoft recommended Active Directory design principle where you nest accounts and groups in order, starting with accounts, global, universal, domain, local, and permissions. How AGUDLP works. First, a user account will be added to a global security group based upon their department or role. Then that group may optionally be added to universal groups to consolidate domain level groups into forest level groups. Then the global or universal groups are added to domain local resource groups for each resource required by that department. As you can see, here is the recommended best practice for Active Directory groups nesting strategy. You add the account to a global group, then add the global group to a universal group, then you would add the universal group to a domain local group that will apply permissions to the domain local group to a resource. The accounts in the original domain local group will have access to the resource with the permissions levels based on their permissions applied to the domain local group. Here are some of the advantages using AGUDLP. Administration is more easily divided up among administrators. User domain administrators manage global group memberships in their domains. Application domain administrators manage the infrastructure to provide access to ZAP BI. Because universal group memberships are replicated across servers in the forest, the authentication process required to access ZAP BI is faster. The method implements a role-based permissions model. If users are promoted or transferred within the organization, they are more easily assigned to a new role with all the associated permissions by simply moving their memberships from one global group to another. Auditing permissions is easier as users are gathered together in a single universal group. Universal groups are the only way to implement cross-domain authentication if the domains are in more than one forest. This method is the most complex to set up, but simplifies administration in a large multi-domain environment. This way, administrators of the user domains can add and remove users from the global groups in their respective domains, which automatically adds and removes their designer role in ZAP BI. It is important to note that universal groups may include as their members users and global groups from any domain within the forest in which the universal group resides. Universal groups may be assigned permissions in any domain or forest. In a multiple forest environment, these behaviors mean that a universal group that is to contain users from multiple user domain must be located in a domain in the forest containing the user domain. The universal group can then be made a member of a domain local group in the application domain. However, this arrangement may be unsuitable if the administrator of the application domain wishes to manage all the infrastructures associated with access to ZAP BI other than the groups containing the users in each user domain. An alternate for this scenario is to create universal groups rather than global groups. For users in each user group, the net and nest all these universal groups in the domain local group, providing access to Zap BI. In the application domain, a disadvantage of this method is that changes to the membership of the universal groups are likely to be frequently, which may affect replication as explained in the note above. Thank you. This is my presentation that covers AGU DLP.